Welcome to the ANVIL Kitchen. My name is Peter and today we're going to be talking about the various types of ANVIL toasters. When you first receive your toaster, remove it from the box and remove any protective plastic that may be around the sides of the toaster prior to use. Secondly, remember you need to keep the operations and care manual. It's separate in the box, and the Dario mold and the adjustment screw will come separately as well. Keep those, they're very, very important, and I'll show you what to do with them soon. Before using your toaster for the first time, take the thumb screw and adjust that until you feel the lid start raising by itself, until it gets to the required height, and then adjust the bottom to maintain that height. This will prevent your sandwiches from getting squashed during the toasting process. Make sure that it is not too buoyant so that it applies enough pressure to provide an even toast. With the Dario mold, just push that into the back, clip it in, and then this will keep any excess fat that might drain during the toasting process, and you can just simply remove that and clean it in a dishwasher afterward. Now that you're ready to toast, plug your toaster in, adjust the thermostat, and you'll immediately see that the light will come on. Once the toaster is at temperature, you'll notice that the light will go off. The switch that you see on the side is available on certain models, and when you can see the red, it means that the top element is on. When you switch it and you cannot see the red, the top element is now off. Remember when toasting not to press the bread or it will flatten the bread. Just apply a little bit of pressure, and remember that the top of this and over here is very, very hot, so just be cautious and be careful. Now I'm going to show you how to apply a Teflon cover on a toaster that is a raw aluminium base. On the Teflon kit, you'll find the bottom cover, find the top cover, and you'll find 2 long springs and 4 small springs. And now I'm going to show you how to apply this. Firstly, begin with the bottom cover. You'll see the grommets. The top is much smoother than the bottom. Put that upward, center the cover, turn the toaster, and using the long springs, thread them through the grommet, secure them in the other side, ensure that the cover is center. Now for the top cover, remove the adjustment screw first, lift the toaster lid, center the cover, bend the lid slightly forward, close the lid, thread the spring through the grommet, attach it to the back, do the same on the side, attach it to the other side, and repeat this process. Now that the cover is secured from the top, ensure that it is centered and that there is no movement on the bottom or top cover whatsoever. They need to be tight. You can now replace the adjustment screw, proceed to plug in the toaster, and you can start using it. Remember, When not using the toaster throughout the day, try and keep the lid as close as possible to being closed to maintain the energy and not waste any excess energy. So once you've got your Teflon cover on, it's important that you continue to use the Teflon cover and not aluminium foil at any moment of time. Why don't we recommend aluminium foil? Is that once you put the aluminium foil on, it creates a heat pocket between the base of the toaster and the foil itself, and what that would do is it actually will buckle the base of your toaster, and that could cause a short, which would actually hinder your toaster's performance. And you will see that it will get slower and slower as the toaster gets older and older. So very, very important, use Teflon covers and not foil. Now we're going to be talking about the ANVIL Panini press. When first unpacking this unit, you may see that this drip tray is packed separately. Remember to just take it out of the box, slide it in, and from there you can proceed to plug the unit in. You can turn it on and you'll see that the light will go on. Once the unit is at temperature, the light will go off. But to help it with that temperature, close the unit and allow the top and bottom plate to heat up one another. This is also far more energy efficient, and this is what you should do when you're not using the unit. When you add in a piece of toast or a panini, lift the unit, place the bread in and lightly depress it onto the bread. Do not press with force or the bread will go hard and flat. What's important to remember when cleaning cast iron, firstly you need to unplug the unit, allow the base of the unit to cool down for at least 20 to 30 minutes. It should be warm and not hot when you're cleaning it. And take a bucket with warm soapy water and a steel brush. You can brush the surface of the grill, and you can just adjust the lid like this and brush it from the top so that the water falls onto the bottom and into the drip tray. You can brush the bottom and then just take clean warm water and just rinse the unit. Once that is done, take a microfiber cloth and dry the unit. And the reason why we say microfiber is so there's no specks of material left afterwards. Once that is done and the grill is nice and dry, what you can do is take a paper towel with some cooking oil and rub it liberally onto the surface of the cast iron base to prevent any rusting. Now I'm going to show you how to use the ANVIL vertical bun toaster. Before switching the unit on, additionally in the box you will find a Teflon clip, a Teflon cover and a tray slide. I'm going to show you how to put these in. Take your Teflon cover, you always see that there's a bend towards one side, slide it in the top here, push it below the loop, take the shorter side towards the toaster, continue to hold the Teflon cover on this side and just clip it in. Once that is done, take your tray slide, push it in the back and just hook it in the back of the unit. Once you know that this is secure, you can pull it back and it will not move. Firstly, plug the unit in and switch it on the wall. Then come over to your temperature dial, set the desired temperature that you would like. Normally 200 to 220 will be sufficient, but this may vary depending on how much sugar is in your bread. From that, once you've set the temperature, push the illuminated dial and the unit will go on. Before putting any buns inside, ensure that the unit has preheated. This will be indicated by the light over here. Firstly, test out if how your buns are gonna run through the unit. You can adjust the thickness over here by referencing the arrow, by just turning these thumb screws to adjust the thickness or the thinness of the unit. Over here on the left hand side, you'll see that there is the heel or the bottom of the bun. On the right, there is the crown or the top of the bun. You just slide them with the cut side towards the plate on this side, and the bun should slowly go through the unit. The total toasting time should be around 22 seconds. If the bun takes longer than expected, you would need to adjust the thumb screw to be thicker And if the bun falls right through, just adjust the thumb screw to be thinner to apply enough pressure. Remember, you don't want to squeeze it, we just want to grip it so that it slowly runs through. Very important, this plate gets very hot during operation. Make sure that you do not touch it or come near it. As indicated on the symbol, the bun should automatically slide out here at the bottom. You shouldn't have to fetch them from the bottom here. If so, just make sure that your tray is adjusted correctly and hooked correctly. You should be able to pull it and it won't come out. Now we're going to talk about cleaning your ANVIL toaster. As you can see, I've got 3 different toasters in front of me: the raw aluminium base, a Teflon covered base, and a Teflon coated base. So there are subtle differences with cleaning these units. Firstly, remember, we need to unplug the unit and switch it off from the wall prior to doing anything. Secondly, allow the base to cool down at least 15 to 20 minutes. It must be warm and not hot. From there, you can get a bucket with warm soapy water, and you can use a sponge or a scourer to clean the surface of the toaster. Remember, any water that may drain off from that, you can put it in the Dario mold. Remember to empty this out and replace it after you're done. Next, we're going to talk about the Teflon cover. The base of the toaster shouldn't get dirty with this, but if it does, repeat the same cleaning instructions that we discussed on this toaster. During the day with Teflon, just take a microfiber cloth with a little bit of water and just wipe it. It cleans very, very easily. Another important tip with Teflon, you want to operate the toaster at about a maximum of 250 degrees Celsius to allow this Teflon to last as long as possible. Moving on to the Teflon coated toaster. This toaster is a little bit different. Again, warm soapy water will do the trick. Really, really easy to clean. But this time you can only use the sponge side. You cannot use the scourer side. The scourer side will strip the Teflon and scratch the Teflon, and it will degrade to a point where it will start peeling off. So remember, only a soft sponge. You take a wet cloth after that and just wipe it, and you're good to go from there. For the outside of the toaster, remember, our hands are dirty. We touch the handle quite often. Just take a wet cloth, wipe over the handle, and wipe the top of the toaster, the sides, and your toaster should be perfect and clean from there. This is more than just a toaster. This is a multifunctional piece of equipment. You can do grilling, you can do toasting, you can cook chicken breasts, you can cook hamburger patties, you can cook steaks, and they're cooking half the time because you're cooking from the top as well as the bottom plate. So what we're going to start off with now is how to season the plate, and that essentially means that we create a surface on the plate that makes it a more non-stick cooking surface to actually use. So how we're going to start that is we're going to start it with sprinkling some salt onto the surface with some cooking oil, and we're going to let that burn and put the grill up to maximum heat and let that burn for at least 15 to 20 minutes. So how we're going to season the grill is quite simple. You take salt, normal table salt, you sprinkle it liberally all over the bottom surface, spread that on the surface of the grill. Take some cooking oil, normal cooking oil, sunflower oil or vegetable oil is perfect, and pour some of that on the surface of the grill. Use a paper towel and just spread it evenly. It's going to look a bit messy, but that's fine. Then turn the grill onto maximum, so that's 250 degrees Celsius, and make sure that this light is illuminated. That means that the top plate is on. At any point, if you just want to use it as a flat cooking surface just for the bottom, you can just turn the switch and you'll see that the switch will not illuminate, and that means that this top plate then goes off. So let's just switch that back on, close it, and leave it for at least 15 to 20 minutes until it starts smoking, and then we will go on to the next step. Now that 15 minutes have elapsed, you'll see that the grill is smoking. So what you want to do is open it, put it in the lock function, make sure that it's in the lock function as to not burn yourself when you're cleaning the salt. Take some paper towel, make sure that you take quite a lot of paper towel, as that it makes a surface between the grill and your hand. And be very, very careful, but make small circles on the surface of the grill. Go slowly, don't go awfully fast, and you'll see that it'll go brown and there'll be like a paste that forms in the bottom of the base of the grill. Make sure that you cover the entire surface of the grill. Once that is done, close it again and leave it for another 10 minutes. Now that 10 minutes have passed, you can lift the grill. Make sure that it is in the lock position. Using a spatula or a scraper, you can scrape the salt and oil off until the grill goes clean. Once the majority of the salt and oil is off, turn the unit off, switch it off on the plug, and you can proceed to clean the rest of the grill with just a damp cloth, and make sure that there is no salt left on the surface, or the first sandwich that you're going to be making is going to be very, very salty. So just make sure that there's no salt left on the surface, a nice warm soapy water and a cloth, and just get all of the salt off the surface of the grill. Now that I've scraped the salt off, or as much salt as I can get off with a scraper, take a paper towel and wipe the surface of the grill until you do not see any salt left. And you'll see that you might have to use a bit of paper towel, but the nice thing with this is you only do this maybe once or twice a month. So you're going to use a bit of paper towel here, but get that surface nice and clean to make sure that there's no salt left on the surface, and that your first sandwich or your first steak is not going to be incredibly salty. So that's very, very important. Now that I've taken off all of the salt with the paper towel, now you'll notice that the surface has a goldish tinge to it, quite a dark brown in certain areas. Now, when you get your new forged toaster, it's going to be silver. So mine was already pre-seasoned because it was a unit that we use here for demos. So your unit will look like this, and it's going to have this nice goldish color to it. And when it is like this, it is essentially a non-stick surface. So if things still do stick to it, and you do tend to get a bit of sticking here and there, what may cause that is that your grill is not hot enough, or you haven't done the seasoning correctly. So if that is the case, you may need to re-season it. And like I said, this is a bit of a laborious process, but you would maybe do it once every 2 weeks or so. And when would you need to know when to season it, or how would you know when to season it? Is your grill will build up fat, will build up grease and grime from general use, because obviously we butter bread when we cook with it. And if you do proteins, you're going to do that more often because proteins have their own fats. So as soon as it's looking a bit grimy, or you're getting some build-up of grease on the edges, you are going to want to just scrape that, clean that properly. With that particular cleaning process, you would use a degreaser. Make sure that your unit is off, so if you spray the degreaser, you don't inhale it. Make sure that you wear gloves and all the required PPE. Clean it properly, even if it goes back to silver. And then what you're going to do is do the seasoning process again, and that's just going to bring it back to this look and feel. And with this, you can literally do pancakes, you can do eggs, and nothing's going to really stick to it. So before cooking, put a little bit of oil on the surface, or there might be butter or margarine on your bread. Put it on the surface, and you can literally cook from there, and it's completely non-stick. 2 notes just to remember when using your forged grill station or toaster. When you are not using it, or when you're not toasting something in it, you just want to leave this lid closed. That's going to make it a lot more energy efficient. The nice thing with this toaster is it's a naturally balanced lid, so it will automatically adjust itself to the product that's in there as to put enough pressure to toast it, but not squash the product. So when you do put the product inside, if it's a piece of toast, lightly press it, don't press it down or you're going to get a very, very hard product. And then just remember, when you're pushing it up, you can just click it up and then that's safe. You must hear the click. Don't push it up and then just think it's clicked and then that can come down on your hands. You always want to make sure that you're safe. And then with regards to the thermostat, you'll notice that there's a thermostat light over here. Like all Anvil and Forge items, the thermostat indicates that the unit is heating up. So when the light is on, the unit is heating up. When the light is off, the unit is at temperature. The nice thing with this unit is extremely energy efficient. It does take around 20 to 30 minutes to heat up. But once it is hot, you can be guaranteed that it cycles very, very seldomly. So you know that you're going to use minimal electricity. And especially if you leave it closed like this during the day, that's going to use even less electricity. So when heating up, make sure you close that lid, make sure that it's nice and closed from there, and you know that the unit will heat up.